The Nova Scotia Women That Hunt, this is becoming a bow hunter workshop. Despite the weather, the rain, the snow, and the temperatures, we are here ready to learn and develop our bow hunting skills. And what's great is because we're in this weather, we are going to be better prepared when we are in a real live situation hunting. This is what I love. Don't be a fair weather hunter. Get out, get practicing in all different circumstances and environments, because it's just going to fine tune your skills. We are super privileged to have members of our group who are subject matter experts, who are willing to share their knowledge and experience and better grow our knowledge and experience. And that's what it's all about. We're here building a community where we learn and grow together.
I happen to enjoy, with brand new archers, the National Archery in the Schools program, NASP, which is out of the States, but it's international now, has an 11-step shot process. And I like starting with it because I believe it breaks it down in a way that engages every part of our body and allows us and reminds us to reflect after the shot, to try and remember what it is we did right, but also what we may be able to improve. If we don't reflect at the end of every shot, what are we learning? We're actually learning to repeat potential problems that are going to affect our shot for a very, very long time. So I really like the NASP. And if you leave here today, if you remember NASP, National Archery Schools Program, you're able to go online and get all that stuff yourself. They've got lots of great videos, but it's for school-age children. From, you know, like,
I don't mind stuff being dumbed down.
You know what? And I agree. One of my favorite sayings is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Dumbing down's probably nicer way of saying it. But so the 11-step shot process that we'll go through today, I think is one that, even if you don't agree with all 11, some of them it breaks a single step into 2 pieces, so that kids aren't skipping things. As adults, sometimes we start to realize, well, I kind of do that at the same time. But the thing about a shot process is that when it comes time for bow hunting, and this is my favorite part of the whole thing, we can only do one thing consciously at a time. So if we're choosing to aim, right, through our peep and our pin, and place that pin consciously, that's what we're focused on. So that means that we can't also focus on proper form. We require muscle memory and the almost to the point where it becomes instinctive, where it happens on our subconscious. We're aiming, and we've shot so many times perfectly that our body will automatically do that. Hit stance. So we're going to set up our stance. Yeah, let's try to be, yeah, I like that, Maria. Very good. Very, very good. All right, then we're going to knock. We're going to set our D-loop. Very good. Then we're going to set our draw hand. Try to find that spot. Then we're going to pre-draw. Good. Draw. Anchor. Aim. Start engaging. Hit the release. Nice. That follow through and reflect. As soon as this pulls through, which was wonderful, leave it up for a moment and follow through. That's your follow through. What we're doing is we're setting up that shot. We're starting to feel the pull. And then as we pull through the shot, the release happens. But we want to come to a spot where we're engaging those muscles.
Right.
Right? So we don't want to kind of do this. We want to come to follow through, and we're going to kind of just come to here and reflect. The reason we're following through and we're reflecting is a lot of people will kind of come to the shot and then look to see where they shot. And I'm exaggerating.
Itself, like anything, you got a compound bow, I got a compound bow, you've got a long bow. In the end, you just need something that's tuned by a professional, or whether you know what you're doing or not. So I showed you the timing. We know how to check that. That's a key component. You have to make sure your draw length's right. That's another key component, which we found here. Once you have that down, and then you do what's called center shot. So we're not going to go into it here, but you go to your shop and you see, make sure everything's, I want my alignment done, I want my timing done, I want to make sure my cams are not canted, left and right, and I want to make sure that everything's set center shot. So center shot means the arrow, when it's knocked with this riser up, it's perfectly square left and right, and it's perfectly square up and down. So that means when it's coming off the, give me an arrow here. Right here. And this is where the paper tune is going to tell you this stuff. So when you get it back from the shop and it's all over the place, you know it wasn't perfect. And rarely is it perfect. It's hard to get it perfect in a shop. They just get it close. So if it's like this, and all of a sudden, let's say my rest, it wasn't center shot and I was like that, well, when that arrow gets pushed, it comes off like this, right? Because it's not directly behind my string.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing. I'm not going to get into much more about equipment than that for the bow part. The sight, you guys have triple pin. The only thing I would say with that, I do a single pin, but it's doubled. It's a single pin, but doubled inside the post, which I can show you. So there's no confusion. So I have a single pin, and there's a double inside that post, so I can never confuse in the moment of shooting an animal the proper pin that I need for the range I'm at, because that will happen. The reason a lot of people don't like single pin is because they have to aim off if the animal comes out at the range that they didn't want,
Yeah.
right? Whereas, so I have an adjustment here, and these are all 20, 30, 40, 50 meters. The second pin, that indicator, is the second, is the orange one.
Yep.
So when that's your standard that everybody uses, 100 grain. I don't hunt with that. That's some other razor tip broadheads. I would highly not recommend mechanical broadheads. And guys will tell you that they work all the time, and they do. But when they don't work bad, because they just don't open up. You might as well shoot the thing with a field point, because if it doesn't open up and it goes in, it's just a field point,
It just stays
and it's garbage. So
No, what's the one that you
this
have that one?
this is what I hunt with. It's called a fixed blade single bevel. So because it's a single bevel, it means it's sharpened on one side. The friction point is only on one side. So if it hits flesh or anything, it automatically, one side gets more friction than the other, so it starts to twist. Which if it hits a bone, it breaks. Because of twisting motion, we all know you screw something in the ground, it's easier to screw it than it is to push it. So if you have rotation when it hits the bone, it will snap the bone and get more penetration. It's a push. It's still sharp. It will still kill an animal, but it doesn't have any kind of rotation. So it's not going to break bone. It's going to try to push through bone. It's going to like, right? Go ahead. Talk me through from bow hand back to release.
Okay. On the target,
Yep.
we draw, drawing back, strain at the nose,
Yep.
elbow
Pressure
down,
on the bow hand,
pressure on the bow hand.
and we're squeezing the shot. So this is your hole.
Yeah. Your tip.
This is your veins.
Yeah.
So the arrow is coming in like this, to the left.
Good.
Does that make sense? So, and if you look here, look at your arrow.
You can actually see it.
See how it's angled to the left?
To the right.
To the, oh sorry, so not the tip, I'm talking about the knock.
yes.
So the
Talk about
knock,
the knock.
Okay.
knock
Yep.
to the left. So when people talk paper tours, they talk about the knock, not the tip. So comes through, it goes to the left. Now that could be bow torque. This is where I'm coming into. You don't adjust anything on your bow. Once you get used to shooting and you're very confident, like my form's good, I'm always good, and you start seeing this, that's when you're going back and you're like, okay, I need to adjust my bow. Something's wrong. My timing's off. my rest needs to be moved, center shot's not on, like multiple things that you go through. But this is what we want to do to show you this is your tool to get coached without having a coach, right? You put a piece of paper up, you shoot through it, you can practice like this. What I will do actually, I will actually manipulate my bow, torque left, torque right, to see if I can simulate that.
Yeah.
Just so that I know, okay, look at that, that's a torque right, it should be tail to the right, put it to the paper, tail to the right, tail to the left, tail to the left. And I'm doing it on purpose to coach myself.
Yeah.
Now, to eliminate human error or like just her physical error, would she shoot a couple more just to compare?
So we're gonna shoot a couple and see what the tears are. And even if they're left, I still wouldn't adjust it because you're just a brand new shooter here with this. But usually, if you're not consistent, so that's another indicator. Let's say you go back and you shoot the same arrow, because each arrow is different because you can get into knock tuning and all this stuff. So if you shoot the same arrow and it starts to tear another way or another way, that's probably you. Right? So that's a good indicator. Don't touch anything on my bow, something with my position. I'm not doing something consistent.
Good draw.
Maybe a little too far to the left.
See? But not quite as far left. So that probably tells me pressure, bow torque. So remember the pressure?
Yeah.
So I
Well,
had you
first
talk
at some point when you have multiple grooves.
I'm gonna talk
Pressure.
paper tenor,
Yeah.
arrow
back
balance.
pressure and then we release the shot. So that is your perfect shot.
That's as
You got
full of those
three
as
three veins in your bullet hole,
Yeah.
right? Now some guys might change that a little bit on a low tear, but you don't chase that. Don't chase that rabbit.
No.
That there is a hunting arrow. That's good.
I agree.
You hunt with that.
One last time. Last time for the day, Maria.
That would be the last time.
Oh! Kill shot. You might as well finish up the rack there. You're up there.
Yeah, might as well fire them all off. That was
Yeah.
beautiful, Maria.
That's a good shot. Really good
that's,
shot.
That's right down through. Exit wound perfect.
That's a kill.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I wish the animals walked
So this is something to think about when you're point of aim, and we're splitting hairs here again. But
Yeah.
if you're aiming here, because of the angle, the exit is going to be down here,
Too low.
right? It's going to be down in the gut.
Oh,
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
even though you're aiming at the heart, but because you're up high, it's actually not going to kill as hard. So this is actually a pretty good shot. You're higher, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be a little bit higher up in the tree stand so that when the arrow comes down, it's exiting. Because in the end, you're trying to hit what's inside here, not what's on the edge, right?
Yeah.
So the angle, you want it to come a little bit higher so that it's exiting out through the organs on the other side.
Okay.
Last week left for your chance to win this travel mug stuffed with stuff. Check it out. I'm going to tell you what's in it, but it's of substantial value, so you should participate. All you have to do is pick your favorite video off the Women That Hunt YouTube channel, comment in the comments below, #StuffThisCup, and share it. That's it. That's all. This is the last video for Women That Hunt this week. I'm going to pass it over to Rick. He's going to do his last video of Muskrat Gulch. And we're going to wrap it up May the 1st and draw the winner. So stuff this cup.